push that.
Yeah.
And then that gives you like a natural clipping point.
Oh, I get
And then
it.
you clip the cable. And then that...
And the cable with
holds
it.
the cable, yeah. And then it needs a proper yank to come down your shirt then.
Okay, well, I won't proper yank it. This is the intro, by the way. Here is your wrestling news. We have future plans for a returning WWE Raw star. A popular AEW star has signed for 2 more years. And a former SmackDown star is joining New Japan Pro Wrestling. We'll get to that in a little bit. Told you we hadn't forgotten about him. We had never forgotten about him. And he thanked us by returning on Monday night. That is right, Keith Lee back in the mix.
Huge, absolutely huge news.
Forget about me.
You having a moment there?
No, it's nice to see. Okay, now he lost, obs.
Yeah.
I was having a little moment there because I was thinking it was nice to see him. He did a nice little jog as he came out, which I thought was adorable. Love you, Keith. And a lot of people, now, a few people have called it a burial that he lost.
We, as a community of wrestling fans, we use the term burial far too much.
Yes.
Regardless of what your feelings are about a situation, if somebody's getting buried, they better be buried. Like that. That's you're gonna have to, like, you know, foot on chest, stand there lording over them. That's a burial. Losing a match isn't a burial. But if they lose, you know, if they lose 10 matches in a row, that's burial. 1 match loss isn't burial. So I hesitate to call it burial right now. It could just be setting something up.
On the scale of like burialness, surely having a somewhat competitive match against the WWE champion near the top of the show is good compared to maybe having a competitive match against Slapjack on main event.
I mean,
like,
coming straight into the main event, you know, area. That is not burial.
No,
that's. Hey, look, he's wrestling the champ.
There's the boy. There's the boy. But future plans for Keith Lee have been revealed by PW Insider, who say that this is Keith Lee's official return to the roster. And some people suggested and intimated this might have just been like a one-off, just to get a nice big pop. No, Keith Lee is now back full time on the main roster. And he's going to be near the top of the tree on the babyface side, quite obvious, which is the right place for him to be. He has been officially cleared to return to programming. That's what PW Insider was told. Cleared meaning that this wasn't a creative decision to keep Keith off of the telly. It was obviously a decision to do with something away from that. And there was some people suggesting there might have been a medical reason or a personal reason for it not being the case. And Keith has been putting things online suggesting that, look, you know, when I'm back, I'll explain everything. But thank you for your support, and maybe we'll get some answers if if it's our business to have.
Well, this is it. Yeah.
If it's our business,
we don't want to be sat there pressuring somebody to talk about stuff. Like, if Keith wants to share the reason he's been away, he'll share the reason he's been away. And if not, we just need to respect that.
Keith, we're just happy to see you.
Exactly.
Back.
Just happy you're back.
Lovely to see you.
Thank you for coming back.
Thanks, mate. Thanks for changing the game. Staying with Monday Night Raw, a WWE Hall of Famer wasn't overly pleased with the bit of Drew and Jinder stuff, was he?
No. So Mick Foley, after watching that big old beatdown, he tweeted, "Big fan of Drew's, but 20 chair shots should either be done to build to a feud of epic proportions, or they shouldn't be done at all." And I mean, I'm going to take chair shot advice from anybody, it'll probably be Mankind. The chair shot, though, it's weird. You know what the DDT became in the 90s?
Yeah.
The chair shot is now that, I guess, in a way. It's not used, all the time, but its impact is so diminished now.
Yeah.
It's not shocking to see a chair shot now. It's kind of expected.
And it depends on what this builds to. Like, because this should, like, it's 20 chair Granville fetcher cloth. A 20 chair shot clouting could be something that would end a match, end a feud, as opposed to a build to a feud.
It should get uncomfortable. It should get uncomfortable. For somebody to take 20 chair shots, it should really, 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 either end or build to like a Mania match, like a big deal.
You'd think so. We'll see what it's building to Drew versus Jinder at SummerSlam. Drew's position in the card, interesting at the moment. He was very much the guy who put the company on his massive shoulders during the pandemic era, the Thunderdome era, and it kind of feels like there's been a cooling towards him. Certainly on that first night back in front of the crowd when he appeared on the Tron, there was a mix of boos and cheers.
You just kind of feel bad for him because he had such a massive moment in a time where there was nobody there to share it with other than his peers. And, it still must have been amazing, but I imagine there's nothing that beats the roar of that live crowd. And getting that reaction for him would have been unbelievable. But, I guess we're just going to have to wait and see where things go, but there is... You know, I want to see where the Jinder Drew thing goes, but at the same time, it's not like it's my hot feud of the week every week. You know,
no, but you need something for that sort of undercurrent.
That, you know, they're
card.
connected historically, and I like that, and that's the kind of angle I'm approaching it from. Like, okay, let's see if we can get an interesting story out of it, but. It's not really my like, oh, I need to watch this, you know.
Well, it's happening at SummerSlam by the looks of things, and should have, and you know, if it's 20 chair shots now, maybe 100 at SummerSlam. Build it. We can confirm this morning as well on the AEW side of things, speaking of Hall of Famers, Jay the Snake Roberts is staying with the company for 2 more years. He had a sit-down chat with Diamond Dallas Page, and he said, a few weeks ago I buzzed Tony and say I have 4 weeks left on my contract, what do you want me to do? Next thing you know, he starts setting up my stuff and says, you need to sign this other piece of paper. After I signed it, I found out it wasn't for a year, it was for 2 years. He's such a wonderful man. He gave my love for wrestling back. It's great to be a part of it. I'm glad to see Jay the Snake Roberts, who, after all these years in the industry, still signing contracts without reading them. Like, that's what I took from that.
You know what? Like, Jake has been such a good addition to AEW.
Absolutely.
And just coming back and reminding everybody why he's Jake the Snake Roberts. It's a no-brainer for me to keep him in and around because you can always use him for something. There's always a need for somebody who can talk, always, and you could apply him to several different groups. You could move him around the roster a bit. It would still work.
Yeah, he's got a lot to offer, both in the ring as a character, away from it as a mind for the business. When his mind is sharp, there's none quite like Jake the Snake Roberts. Possible puncture for Wrestle Grand Slam, Sam?
Yes, Kota Ibushi has been diagnosed with aspiration pneumonia and he's going to be missing the next 3 New Japan dates. They reported that New Japan reported that in order to make a full in-ring recovery, Ibushi will miss the July 22nd and 23rd shows in Osaka and the July 24th in Nagoya. They also wrote that the final decision regarding Ibushi's appearance at Wrestle Grand Slam, where he's slated to face Shingo, will be determined after assessing his recovery. So, I mean... If he doesn't recover enough, he's just not going to get the match.
But I think that's kind of they're playing it very, very safe.
Yeah, I mean, well, of course, but the wording of it was like, you'll just not get that match at all. Like, not that you'll get an eventual day.
They must just want to. They'll probably just be monitoring it right up to the couple of days before.
You have to. It's such a serious thing. Like pneumonia is such a serious thing, and even if you're an athlete, you know. It looks like he's sculpted out of marble, doesn't he? Yeah. Like, but even then, you've got to be careful. You can never be too careful.
And any other time in the world's history, this would have been a difficult one. It's still difficult for Ibushi, but we've seen wrestling shows have to pivot so much in the last 18 months that it's just. I'm sure there's other plans
we've kind of got used to promotions becoming like spider monkeys, haven't we? And they're just jumping around and going, oh, put out that fire, do this, and
it's constant moving beasts. If in the unlikely event Ibushi isn't able to make it to Wrestle Grand Slam, who would you put up against Shingo?
It's pointless asking me because I always give stupid answers like Tomohiro Ishii.
That's a great
I want to
answer.
see Tomohiro Ishii with the belt.
Yes!
I want to see him with the belt. 1-for-1. 1-for-1.
Do it, you cowards. Heading over to the New Japan of America side for our final story. A tweet from New Japan Pro Wrestling has given us a little bit of something else to be excited about for Resurgence, the second ever ticketed event for New Japan of America. What can we confirm this morning, sir?
New Japan has announced a new addition to the English broadcast booth. And it's not Matt Stryker. It's not Jim Ross. It is... Matt Morris,
Yay!
the former Aiden English, is joining New Japan Pro Wrestling to cover these shows. And I mean, he's going to be on Fight TV with it. And he's such a good addition there. And I never even thought about linking those two together. And I was like, this is perfect. This is perfect.
It's a really good fit for New Japan. And so the card at the Torch in LA Coliseum, which Matt will be calling, includes Fred Ross, the Rocky Mera, and Wheeler Yuta facing TJP, Clark Connors, and Ren Narita. That should be a fun little 6-man shenanigan. Carl Fredericks and Alex Coughlin one-on-one, and Jay White defending the Never Openweight title against David Finlay. This has got to be the time now for New Japan of America, for New Japan Strong to really get in.
Because it always seemed like Harold May was the guy who was like, expand westward. And then when Harold May left, it was like, okay, what's going to happen there. It's all kind of set up, but now they're just cracking on, and I'm really happy at that. I don't know what it's going to look like eventually once the world's, fully open, and this is all like a long and distant memory this past couple of years. But I imagine New Japan are going to probably try and maintain a presence in America for forever. Like, even if it gets down to the point where it's just a dojo, like, they will probably keep that going, because you can never have enough talent, right? Like, especially over there, they can bring in all these new interesting people and have them work for an American audience and see how they get on with other New Japan talents too.
To have that hold in the States, in the West, I think is very important for the expansion of New Japan, and some great people part of it. Fight TV, August the 14th, if you want to support Resurgence, and Cultaholic.com if you want to support us. There's a lovely quiz online about the Great American Bash 2008. Do you remember who was there? Check it out online. Also, if you're a fan of the YouTube channel Outside Xbox, of course you are. I see you owning an Xbox. We've got the lads from Outside Xbox on Desert Island Graps later today on the podcast feed, talking about their favourite wrestling matches. Lots happening today, and you're having a great day, and he's having a great day, and I'm having a great day because we're back at the desk. What a time to be alive.
Oh, I love being back.
It's nice being back. I still think we shouldn't wear trousers. Stay safe, love you, bye. Nearly forgot. Woo!